All right, everyone. Yesterday, Illinois celebrated its first Obama Day, and I'm like, well, he is from Illinois, so I can understand why they would celebrate that on his birthday. I think he turned 57, if I remember correctly. And I was just thinking it was really funny to see like some people's reactions. They were doing the thing that they actually do with Hillary Clinton a bit, which is LARP about, well, if Obama was president, everything would magically be okay. And it's like, yeah, you'd be lulled into sort of a hypnotic state. And even though the job market probably wouldn't be as good, unemployment would probably be higher, we wouldn't be making any headway in North Korea, despite the fact that on a half a dozen levels, things would not be as good as they are now, you would feel better about it because Obama wouldn't make mean tweets. That's really what it boils down to. It's cult of personality stuff, whereas Trump, it's actually strange, does the opposite. He's like, well, I'm going to have a really weird personality that a lot of people won't ultimately like, but at least I'll get something done. And it's interesting to see how a little bit of being polite and in some pomp and circumstance, going through the motions basically, symbolism and how you dress and act. It's interesting how that can lead some people to believe that you're better than someone that gets something done but is actually a flawed personality, which Trump is. It's not all 4D chess. Some of it is the fact that over 30 fucking years he's like wrestling and pageantry and, hard-hitting TV shows and the Stern universe and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's seeped into his behavioral profile a little bit. But then I was thinking, it goes deeper. It's like, you're going to celebrate Obama, okay. You're going to celebrate. What are you celebrating? Name 3 significant accomplishments of the Obama administration. And then I'll wait for 1,000 years because most people aren't like me with regards to how they believe in things. So a lot of people don't give him credit for the Cuba deal. It was popular at the time. It's like everyone wanted to end the embargo on Cuba until it was Obama that actually suggested it. Then all the people on the right somehow went hard line again. It was a little bit weird and a little bit shifty, and it's like most of you don't really care. Castro's not coming back from the dead to wage war on us. It's not the Bay of Pigs era. I give him credit for the oil boom in part because he simply didn't do anything. He didn't bow to pressure from the further left, which told him, hey, shut off the spigot of oil, no more exploration, no more exploitation, we must go green. He didn't do that. He wasn't like an environmentally friendly president at all. It's like when Trump rolls back this restriction on certain pesticides and wildlife refuges. That's one of the few things that the Obama admin actually imposed that was sort of like, hippie-trippy greenery. By the way, I actually side with the Obama admin more on that than the Trump admin. I don't want a bunch of poison sprayed in wildlife refuges. I think it's a terrible idea. But, can you actually name, like, any other accomplishments? What did he do? He raised taxes. He didn't fix the job market. He threw billions of dollars at corporations and for-profit banks, giving a golden parachute to a bunch of multinational banking heads and CEOs, while screwing hundreds of thousands of people that were still out of work at that time. Remember Shovel Ready? Remember how he joked around the time of the first midterms? Oh yeah, I guess Shovel Ready wasn't really Shovel Ready now, was it? There's a reason why the Tea Party, which never would have been considered viable before, managed to take so much power. By the way, it's leaving lingering problems now. I'm not exactly an evangelocon, if you know what I'm saying. So it's really funny to see. Another part of Obama's legacy, I want the Democrats to understand this, is Trump. Another part of, specifically for fiscal reasons, look at the map of states Trump won versus like 2012. Several of the major states that flipped because of economic reasons. They were significantly blue, they were beyond leaning blue, and they were fairly safe Democratic states. Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin specifically, and then Ohio and Indiana were basically swing states. They've all gone far red now. The reason why they went red is specifically because when Obama came out year after year and touted the economic recovery, he ignored this part of the country. This is why early on, when I don't even think Trump had won a state yet, I said, hey, if he wins, it'll be because he's focusing on the Rust Belt. That's where he's going to have to focus, up in the Great Lakes. He's going to have to go campaign hard in places like Michigan that the Democrats have taken for granted and the Republicans have largely given up. Don't do that. Trump's a money president. He can go into these areas and get small town America to vote for him. He can win Michigan. Nobody at the time thought in their wildest fever dream that could happen. It was hilarious. That's part of Obama's legacy. Another part is that did he close Gitmo? No. Well, there's a promise broken. You know, that was one of the things that actually I liked the most was the thought that Obama would be not in favor of all the aspects of the surveillance apparatus and police state shit from the W era. In other words, I liked him for platforms that at the time were ostensibly left-wing. I actually liked that about him. But no, he basically ignored that. The war kept up, it just turned into a covert drone war. Well, tens of thousands of people still were dying in places like Pakistan and Yemen and Iraq and Syria and all over the Middle East and North Africa. But then he gets a Nobel Prize for it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He didn't deserve that. And he was a divisive president too. Now, in his lukewarm defense, Obama wasn't Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, when she was campaigning, invoked her gender every single time she spoke. Obama only rarely invoked race. Mostly he's like, well, we need togetherness and move forward, progress. And it wasn't real progress. It wasn't actually forward. It was backwards momentum, especially economically. But at the very least, that's one thing I can say about him is he was more reluctant to use wedge issues than some people. You know, by gods and guns quotes aside, you know, he's like, well, some people, they just, you know, they thump the Bible and they shoot guns all day. Or I can't remember what he said. And it was similar to the deplorables comment that Hillary Clinton made, except that at the time things were so bad and we were coming off such a shitty Republican presidency, he didn't have the problem that Hillary Clinton had because she was coming off of a shitty Democratic presidency. Obama was not a great president. Some people, they put him in the top 10 in presidential rankings. I'm failing to understand why. Is it because he was a good speaker? I think in part it was. Anyone who puts Obama ahead of JFK, you're delusional. You're literally delusional. His main legacy was they fucked the ACA rollout, threw billions at programs that didn't work. They tried to have like a new deal and it fell totally flat. It built up a little bit of infrastructure that didn't do anything. Claiming that 7% unemployment was the new norm, claiming that sub 2% GDP growth was the new norm, claiming that we were no longer a major player, we were only one of a number of major players within the world stage. The NSA expansion that he claimed that he only heard about when he saw it on CNN, which means if that's true, he was totally inept and not doing his job. Benghazi, which is still fishy. The biggest thing about Benghazi, though, the Republicans fixated on, well, what did Hillary Clinton know? What did Obama know? Fuck that. It doesn't matter. The big thing for me was that they blamed that Innocence of Muslims video thereafter, which had nothing to do with the attack. Wasn't it a little bit conspicuous that they blamed something that demonstrably had nothing to do with the attack? That it wasn't an organic protest resulting from a YouTube video, that it was actually a coordinated, significant attack that had nothing to do with ideology and was about a bunch of people wanting to storm the embassy? Well, yeah, Obama lied completely about that to the whole nation, but just ignore that. Even the Republicans never picked up on that. That's why their attack on Benghazi failed. That's why when they were trying to get closure on it, they failed completely. They would have succeeded if they had fixated on the fact that Obama lied, and you could prove that he lied because he made a public statement that was clearly false, according to every intel agency, according to the Libyans. But no, they never did that because the Republicans are bad at political strategy. Can't wait to talk about Unite the Right and how bad that is at strategy. No, that's Obama's legacy. And higher taxes is Obama's legacy. And pissing off, you know, small-town America, and especially the working class, and giving the Rust Belt to the Republicans is Obama's legacy. And attempting to restrict freedom is Obama's legacy. And continuing a war and managing to con people into thinking he was a great peacenik was Obama's legacy. And deflecting all criticism by making up this weird straw man where he's like, well, my enemies think I'm a Kenyan Muslim socialist. And it's like some people like myself are like, no, you're not. You're just an asshole. Well, there's Obama's legacy. Obama's legacy is representing less than half of the country, and especially his rich crony friends, and taking a bunch of Goldman Sachs money while pretending to be a progressive populist candidate. That's Obama's legacy. Best thing Obama ever did was refuse to give significant pressure to people to vote for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that helped sink her. I think that, in a way, I think that Obama felt personally wronged by the DNC and by all the Clinton plants therein. And so he sort of threw the race a little bit. He didn't want to come out and fully... He endorsed her and he did a couple campaigns because he sort of owed her one because Clinton had come in to do that for him. Otherwise, he's like, basically you're on your own. I'm not even going to weigh in on politics anymore. The best thing about Obama is that in his post-presidency, he's been more like Jimmy Carter than he has, been like a Bubba Bill. That is, he doesn't want the limelight much anymore. He's sort of being quiet about things. He weighs in. He does a few favors for people now and then, but mostly he's golfing and eating pineapple. I can at least respect that in the post-presidential era. And he came out, his first statements upon Trump winning was basically, well, now it's time to work together and go forward. Well, at the very least, he didn't do what maybe the Bushes, the Clintons would do and say, no, fuck you, #resist. In fact, he's shown remarkable restraint thereafter, but that doesn't deserve a state-level holiday. It's Obama Day in Illinois. We tax you double on this day on everything that you buy. We spy on you twice as much. Then we send a drone and shoot up your living room. That's Obama Day. That's how they should celebrate it. They should have fireworks strapped to a bunch of drones. And they should recreate the Fallujah or something and have an army of drones fly over and fire fireworks down at the ground at all the spectators. Then people can see what the Obama era was like for most people in the fucking world. And that's about all. Peace out.